Actually,
Welcome to podcast 1.
The very first one. Starring Evan.
This reminds me of Bob and Doug.
Those hosers?
Canadian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it started every episode.
And only 3 of us have a toque.
What's a toque?
The hat.
That's what Joe's wearing.
It's actually, it's a beanie, so only one of us.
No, you had it right the first time.
Oh yeah?
Tassel, some earmuffs on it or something.
Mm.
Or just a regular beanie.
Just, beanie. I mean, it started with that, but...
What do you call the beanies with like the fur and stuff that comes down the sides?
Elmer
That the
Fudd.
Russians wear?
Elmer
I
Fudd.
don't think those are a beanie. Those are like a...
Yeah, it's like an Eskimo.
Like a Air Force flapper hat?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Is that light supposed to be on?
It doesn't work.
Tell me, YouTube, what are those hats called that Elmer Fudd wears and the pilots or whatever? Thanks.
Be good to know.
Yeah. This is basically a show about nothing. We're going to try podcasting. We just got a couple GoPro cameras. And we're going to title this Responding to Your Comments. So, we make videos on YouTube and often don't respond to the comments. So I thought podcast might be a good place to do that. But before we get into that,
Just out of curiosity, real quick, why don't you respond to the comments, August?
because I'm creating content, I'm
So
not
you're just
trying
busy.
to.
You're busy.
I can't. I would want to respond with more words than I'm willing to type with my thumbs.
And you'll never get anything else done.
Yeah.
If you were to spend all day trying to get back to
This
everybody.
is an effort to address that. It's kind of a way to interact with the crowd.
At a point, you kind of have to. Like, once it gets to a certain size, you can't interact with everybody.
Yeah.
And if you did, you would be probably wrong to. You'd leave somebody high and dry.
Mm-hmm.
Your family or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's all you would do.
I'd be like, not now, Damien. I have to talk to another stranger.
You're ignoring Damien's phone call.
Get out of my DMs, Damien. You're clogging up the stranger pile.
Honey, I'll eat dinner when I'm done with these friends.
This guy I don't know is upset with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to make a really valid point with somebody that.
I don't know why, but after commenting to all my friends, my wife doesn't want to talk to me anymore for the rest of the night.
Should send her a DM.
Get in line.
I saw.
If you were to look, I am in your DM.
Dude, back when I used to be on Facebook, my parents had a barbecue and this guy came over that I kind of knew. I didn't know him that well. He was a friendly neighbor or whatever, and he came over and he's all, hey, what's up? And I was all, hey, aren't we friends on Facebook? And he's all, yeah, and I'm all, I'll talk to you there. That was pretty hilarious. So I have this kind of viralish video right now called Security Cam Captures Exact Moment Tree Smashes House. And I want to talk about that a little, some of the comments in that. But before we get into that, this video is brought to you by monkeybeaver.com, and so we want to talk about our new upcoming, is it this weekend that we're going to make it live?
Only if we do a whole bunch more today.
Oh, so probably not this weekend.
Probably next week.
It's like, if it's not this weekend, it'll be next week. Like,
Okay, so
it's
next
right
week,
there.
take it away, Joe, and I'll use this camera, this iPhone, to zero in.
Okay. These are the hydration packs that will attach to our 2.0 suspenders. There's not much really to say about them other than that they
So,
attach to the new suspenders.
If you have 2.0 suspenders, these will mate right up. Hydration pack, you can be like a little gerbil in
they
a
click.
tree and get your water hydration.
They attach to the pockets on the suspenders here. We will have the bladders available or not available if they want to use their own. These ones are 2 liter. We'll probably offer a 1.5 and a 2 liter. And
Oh,
suspenders are. We'll probably do something like this as like a standard option. I think a black might not be the best color just because of the sun.
Oh, right.
So we'll probably go with the gray. Something kind
Unless they like
kinda
warm
neutral.
water.
Yeah. They are insulated for what that goes for. I don't know. After 8 hours, it's gonna matter, but they
Yeah.
are. They're it's 3 layers. So let's see. We have the. I haven't finished it yet, but there will be an option to use it outside of the suspenders if you don't want it permanently attached, or not permanently, but.
You mean just like
You're
wearing?
not gonna want to like taking this thing off every time you want to fill it up.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have everything locked down, you're gonna want to pull the bladder out and fill it up, put it back.
Mm-hmm.
So it does come on and off, and it's not that hard, but it's not something you're gonna want to do every day. So if you don't want it attached, then there'll be some straps available that can be used just like a small pack.
Mm-hmm.
For the
And-
ground, guys.
Yeah. And there'll be, I imagine we'll have several colors available.
Oh yeah, and we can do customs.
Yeah.
I'll kill this camera. So these, what's cool about this is these are super legit suspenders made for a specific industrial purpose, and the bladder mates up to it. This is not, the point of saying that is, the 2.0 suspenders, the point of saying that is that this is not a hydration gerbil feeder bladder that has been converted into suspenders.
Oh yeah, that's a distinction I wanted to make. There's these are definitely like suspenders first and foremost, with the option for a hydration pack rather than a pack that you can attach to your saddle. So there's one out there, the Recoil, which is nice, but it definitely is coming more from the direction of being a pack first and then kind of a chest harness setup second. This is going to integrate with your harness a lot better, the suspenders on their own, and then this is just an option to add to it.
Yeah.
So we're coming at this from the direction of it being for the harness. not
For
as
arborist dudes
Yeah.
and ladies
As an add-on.
that want to have the best stuff for climbing a tree and might get thirsty, and so they can now address that.
Yeah, and this attaches to the 2.0 suspenders, not the original basic suspenders. Maybe we'll change that in the future, but there's a whole bunch of them out there that it won't attach to, so we probably won't.
Yeah, so if you have our original suspenders or some other suspenders, you'll want to convert to the 2.0 suspenders to get the hydration pack.
I mean, it's something to consider even if you're not thinking about the bag right now, but you want suspenders and you don't have either version. If you get the 2.0 suspenders, then you have that ability to add on to it later.
Yeah, so even just getting these suspenders, it is a good upgrade too. I do like these better than the original ones.
All right, watch for that soon, monkeybeaver.com. Let's not let this commercial get any longer and get into the comments. Do you have any comments while I look
Yeah,
for
I
the
commented on that video. You should go find that one.
I'm not doing that. No,
Anonymously.
I'm not gonna.
It was pretty close to when it came out.
Okay.
You should
let's
do
see.
this. August, you go,
The random.
and then stop it on a
It's like
comment.
a slot machine.
Yeah, just go.
Slice.
And then if it's a really bad comment, do it again.
The comments seem to fit into categories. On this video, security cam captures exact moment tree smashes house. There's been a majority of comments saying thank you for the red circle that I used.
We almost missed that.
Yeah. So what's funny about that is they're chastising me for highlighting the tree with a red circle when it's the only tree in the frame. But The reason I did that is because when I circled the red tree and I wanted to lead the eyeballs to where the people should be looking for what was unusual about to happen, I had no idea what I would name the video. So I was just editing the video and I was all, this is where you should be looking. And then later I named it. Exact moment tree smashes house. Right? So.
Which is what it is.
Yeah, so that's why there's a red circle. This guy says State Farm, claim denied. Incredible how they untangled that huge tree and cleaned it up. Scary reminder of dead trees near my house.
I don't think the tree was dead, was it?
And I'm gonna say it wasn't dead though.
No, it wasn't dead, and that's what is scary, is it had all this green, solid, happy-looking, snipe you when you're not expecting it power. Because it wasn't giving any indications that it would fall, except, I don't think we should mention this part. A real arborist would have seen some signs, and they were slated. They had, all right, I better stop, huh? I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
It was heavy on one side, and that was obvious.
Yeah,
and they had the option to have some work done on it, and they didn't.
That's the facts.
Anyway, so the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, you do it. You find an interesting one. What is it?
Not channeling ? But he wrote 3 comments, so I'll read another one of his.
I don't know what that means. There's the people that will get on there and tell you why the tree fell, even though they're just looking through a keyhole view of it, and they think they know, and they start educating all the other people. Then there's people that say we're unsafe.
So as you said that, there was a person that says, if you stop the video, you can see that the tree was very sick. Note the heavy moss on it.
Yeah.
The funny white patches above that. The wiggly looking small branches. That tree should have been checked by an expert who no doubt would have recommended it be removed.
Why would they assume that it hadn't been checked?
I know.
Because you can check a tree and the people don't necessarily, they're not necessarily going to pay and do what you say to do.
Yeah, and they say there's no wind, no storm. The tree simply tips over and goes down. So, but what they don't see, they see a stem, but they see from here down. They don't see that this thing came up and went way over the house.
They can see that in the rest of the video.
And on the back side, there was power lines. So a bunch of power line work had been done on the power line side, making the lean over the house even worse.
And it was phototropically getting heavy on the side where the path of the sun was. And they watered the lawn so much that the roots died because it's a black oak. Those are the inside scoop things, but the commenters usually don't know that. They say things like, the taproot was gone.
And the branches are wiggly.
Yeah, those wiggly branches. So moss on the tree is not a problem, in case you're wondering. It ain't moss. You can go to places in Snohomish and places like that where there's moss hanging 3 feet off the tree. It's not harming the tree.
I really like this comment. Whew, some of those made me pucker. August and Damien are an incredible team. Don't forget Jeff.
You just made that up. That's not even a comment.
What? Okay. I bet the homeowner and neighbors are glad to have that tree gone for a lot of reasons. Leaves, property damage, etc. Awesome job, gentlemen.
I think they got the leaves and the property damage.
They got that, yeah.
Make another one up about Evan and Joe.
Oh, okay. What a great message.
Yeah, if only Evan and Joe had been there, this job would have been done ASAP.
Tree wouldn't have fell.
What a great message in the video. I needed to hear that. Working Man Blues. You nailed it in that old video, Evan and Joe.
Yeah, that's from a different video. What is that from?
Working Man Blues, I think.
Keep doing this one main thing is the title of the video.
Oh, okay, I see.
If you're doing a podcast and you have a long pause, you don't care. And you don't try to fill it up with words like I just did.
We just don't say a word.
Yeah.
We're like, we said we don't care.
Just holding it back. Just holding it back.
Trying not to care.
I don't know, a lot of them are just really good. Enjoyed the video, nice job.
Yeah, there's been a lot of new subscribers over that video.
Right, so it's hard to pick through.
Yeah. I think the big thing when people leave comments on YouTube videos, they need to think before they speak, because a lot of them don't make sense.
One of the main things they do is they think they've got it all figured out, even though they've just seen through this little keyhole view.
And I don't think they even watch the whole video a lot of times.
Oh, there's people on this one that were saying it was fake.
Yeah, I'm trying to find those.
Yeah, they were saying that it was a styrofoam tree, or that we staged it, that we pulled the tree over onto the house for clicks.
Oh yeah, I heard that one too.
Yeah.
You can hear the noise that they're pulling the.
You're
tree
gonna get
over.
like a penny per click or something, so that ain't a thing.
Yeah.
No, the tree fell over. It had reasons.
And it just so happened that we were lucky enough. The homeowner had cameras on the front of his house looking out, because that area of the neighborhood isn't the best area. So maybe they've had
Because the
problems.
people are worse than the trees, yeah.
Yeah.
At least most of the time.
And 2 views.
Yeah, and two views.
2 angles.
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool.
that's why they thought it was fake. Because it was so well covered by color security cam.
Yeah, but what they had was good coverage of their front lawn, which happened to have the tree in a pretty good spot for the
Right,
frame.
yeah, that was their front door.
Yeah, they weren't trying to look at the tree.
But they were
trying to
just
look at...
looking for people sneaking in and sneaking out. And they had good videos of that. And the guy's pretty techie too.
Yeah, it's pretty techy.
This is a comment that kind of covers what you guys are mentioned was, what's so weird is it was standing straight and looked healthy. It wasn't wet, rainy, stormy, or windy. So you guys already kind of covered that with.
Yeah, the roots rotted off and it was heavy on one side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's enough. They thought it was photoshopped because the tree tips over and the house. So the house is here. The tree tips over on the house, and there's so much weight out on the other side of the house that it literally leveraged the stump right up out of the ground and then back. It completely severed it from the earth.
This isn't.
And they thought that, why is there lawn under the stump now? Because it came out of the ground and then the lawn fell back in and then the tree. And they're all, that's fake.
Why would you Photoshop grass in the wrong spot anyways?
This one says, big ass tree laying on the house while the homeowner is watching you guys play rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Hey,
We don't have the best bedside manner.
there was no other way to figure out who was going to climb it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I got a little bit of criticism for not being sad enough. But nobody died, and we gotta work.
Yeah, and we have to keep our spirits up to get it done.
That's our niche. That's what we do. You wouldn't want us to hate it, would you? We might not do a good job if we hated it.
Moping around the yard the whole time.
Yeah.
No.
Complaining the whole way.
Yeah, turn a bad thing into a good thing. Get it done so that they can move on.
Uh-huh.
After the rock, paper, scissors.
Mm-hmm.
This one says, it's strange that the roots by the sidewalk don't seem to exist, as if they've been cut in a straight line, but not very recently. I would suspect works under the sidewalk or under the grass.
So there was a new section of sidewalk, and people were blaming the city, they, and it wasn't that. It was the roots were literally rotted off.
Yeah, we got in there and it was like the consistency of like snot.
Yeah, it was just balanced. The tree was just barely balanced in there.
And that is like a common occurrence around here with black oaks in like residential settings. They're kind of a native tree in the wild around here, so they're not used to getting water every single day.
If your grass is green, you're giving your oak too much water, and it'll rot.
We'll have 4 months of no rain in the summertime.
Yeah,
Or it's completely dry.
At least that type of oak.
Yeah, so if everyone keeps watering all summer
Black
long.
California black oak, I think it's called.
Cool.
That's
trees.
why it rotted.
There are cool trees.
Yeah, they don't have like the mega lifespan of a white oak or something.
They're one of the biggest hardwoods around here, though. Like,
Yeah, they get big.
And there's the comments that the lumber, he could rebuild his house with all that lumber.
If you needed a house rebuild.
Yeah. And if you
They're
wanted to
not
build
gonna
it,
they're not gonna mill all that up to try and.
nobody ever takes black oak for milling around here for some reason. It's basically junk wood for.
Well, it has so many little hollows and.
I think it twists up when it's drying. That must be the reason.
I've cut some logs and some black oak into cans for a guy with a mill. Same thing, actually. It was.
Tipped over?
Yeah, except it was enormous. It looked like a semi drove through the house.
Oh.
It was like 6 foot in diameter, and it went.
When was the house built?
It was over off M Street there. Just a single story. I don't think it was like real old, but you know.
Well, it's
like,
the old ones that last. The old ones
I
that
think
can handle it.
this was probably like 70s era, 70s or 80s. I don't know. But nothing was gonna handle this tree. It was like it went from the backyard through the house and across the street. Like it was it was like one of those ones out on Marble Mountain.
Oh yeah.
It was like that. And it went like it went from it was sitting on the floor all the way through the house, going in one side and out the other. And it had fell while it had landed right between the husband and wife. There was an old couple, and they had like chairs. And they were watching TV, and it fell over. It was like in the evening.
Dang.
But
Was that over? That wasn't the one in Portola.
no, it was like if you turn off M Street and head south on one of those streets, it was like 4 or 5 houses down. It was pretty close to M Street there, between M and N. Right after, like right past where we used to dump chips at Max.
Oh yeah.
Like maybe 2 blocks. There's like a little church on the right. I actually went through the church parking lot into the backyard there because it was the next street up.
That Calvary Crossroads Church.
Yeah, it was right on the side. So it was the next street over from it, but I didn't actually see the mess. When I got there, the brush had been cleaned up and they had like tarped up, and they just had some huge logs they had drug out.
Did that go to Ace Harbor guy? The guy out on Williams Highway?
No, I went to another guy that had a mill. He was there, and I cut them into cans, and they were super heavy. He couldn't. They were like, after I squared them up, they were probably like 3 feet square, and 8 or 10 feet long, and they were like several thousand pounds. He thought he was gonna load them up with a tractor, and didn't even budge him.
So did you ever see any finished work out of it?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I've never seen any successful black oak milling around here. Not saying that it doesn't happen, but
At least not for anything big.
yeah, like we'll give it away.
I think
Yeah,
Matt.
they
I've
want-
seen Matt make tables out of it.
Matt, who? Uh
Slab grinder.
oh.
Sorry, I forgot his last name. But
If anybody would have, it's that Burrow guy, probably.
yeah,
Well, I make like oak dressers and stuff like that. Yeah, around here, I don't know. Really many people to do it.
I want a mill.
Be cool.
I want a mill, but first I have to find money.
it's been slow around here lately.
Yeah. As per us sitting on the couch in the middle of the day.
I'm trying to find a good comment, but there's a lot of just
Yeah.
love for the videos that's being created, you know.
It's a solid
Yeah.
crew we got working out there.
Impressive work team, you know, perfect tree removal job. Wow. Didn't you have a video one time where everybody commented? They said, as a, you know, tree.
Oh, yeah, that has 25 million views. That's rope tricks. It's a short video.
Oh yeah, and everybody like
And everybody started saying their occupation and
like as a
yeah.
as a woodsman.
Oh, yeah.
As a welder.
As a pipe fitter, this guy really knows his knot.
Yeah.
I see a couple that are like that. I'm like, oh, that goes back to something else.
Yeah, and they were coming out of the woodwork with like things that did not pertain to any kind of knot.
Mhm.
Like as a pen maker, you know.
Yeah. And then there's all the guys that went back to that. When the internet was new, there was this real popular video about this guy. He was just watching stuff on TV and commentating. And he's all, look at this guy. He's a captain of tying knots. He's a knot tying captain. You seen that?
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, so that harvested thousands of comments, just people referring back to that. Captain of tying knots.
You guys try to find a good.
This is the tree talking. Tree, I've had a good run. I think I'll go and lie down now.
Mm-hmm.
It was just nap time.
Yeah.
It makes me terribly sad to see an old growth tree like this. Although it may be dead, it wasn't dead. There's a lot of good wood that turners and carvers could use for their craft, and most of it is going into the chipper. Even the small branches are good for turning on lathes and for craft work. The
Yeah.
same for almost every tree I see falling or being cut down in old neighborhoods.
Yeah, we're villains. Because we
We
didn't
have that
take
guy
the
come.
tree off the house and turn it into fine
we should get a
furniture.
hold of that guy. He can come pick up all the wood and he
Yeah.
can make pins.
Come get it!
Come get it, and we need it gone the day we're
Yeah.
hauling it away.
Yeah, it's gonna be gone that day.
All for free.
Unless you want to pay us for the job and then you can collect when you're finished.
Listen to this lady. I'm 82 and so glad your thumbnail popped up. Used to watch your great team often, reminds me of old game of pickup sticks. We played for hours. No laptops those days. Amazing how we were being taught so many rules of life, pondering results of don't make too quick a decision. This is a person that writes in all caps.
Mm.
She probably doesn't remember where the all caps.
There weren't lower caps in her day.
Yeah.
No, my dad writes like that.
Yeah.
Like he prints like that. Well, let's see. Correct me. I used to love hearing you explain your strategy. She says, I think you said you saw a trapeze act as a kid and knew what kind of dangerous job you wanted to do. No, I didn't say that. It must have been a different YouTuber, but I did see some guys doing tree work and I thought that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that camera pointed at the tree was able to catch the exact time that tree fell on the house. How do you think that camera was able to catch that? What a smart camera, lol.
Yeah.
You could probably upload like a 24-hour-long video of everything else that captured.
Yeah,
It was
captured
a
all kinds of
whole bunch
stuff.
of nothing.
Yeah.
Here's the ladybug.
Oh, there's a car driving
A
by
squirrel.
again. Suspicious.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, listen to this. I love the title. Sounds like we were lucky because it says it captures exact moment. Imagine if the security camera recorded the time before and after, but did not capture the exact moment the tree fell. So, I responded to this one because you know what happens when you get knocked on the head? You don't remember what happened. It's the same with my GoPro. Whenever I've hit my GoPro too hard, like tied it to hooked it to the top of a tree and it's been thumped, I go to look at the footage and it records up to about 10 seconds before it gets hit.
Yeah.
So this guy is saying, he's basically making fun of us for the way we worded that. But it is cool that the camera kept recording after that tree hit. Because it smacked the house that the cameras were on. And they're not GoPro cameras. They're not like shock rated.
Right.
Yeah.
But it kept filming.
It probably wasn't. It wasn't a shock like being dropped from 100 feet up and hitting the ground though. Like,
No.
It was just kind of pushed into him.
But it didn't tear the wiring out like you were talking about that tree. Sometimes they go
Yeah.
clear the foundation.
Yeah.
So he still had a house.
Yeah.
They were in it.
Another
He still
person.
had lights up and stuff.
Another person is thankful that you circled the tree because he wouldn't have known which one if you didn't.
Yeah. Glad I could help.
Yeah.
We'll circle them all from now on.
Yeah. And let you figure out which one's
Yeah,
gonna fall.
I hope you like circles.
Here's another one. Thank God you highlighted the tree beforehand. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known which one to look at.
So picture a thumbnail with one tree in the frame and a red circle on it and a title that says exact moment tree falls. So that's why they're saying, thanks for circling the only tree.
Yeah.
It works as a great thumbnail though.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't know what the title was going to be when I made the video.
And then this guy thinks that we have it all wrong. The tree catching house worked very well. Like the house was there to catch the tree.
Yeah, to not hurt the ground underneath the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a criticism. Walks under the leaning tree just before the roof falls. You need some safety training.
Yeah.
Was that about you guys or one of them?
No, we were going. The house was holding up the tree, obviously. And when we rigged the last log, we went under it, rigged it. We weren't hanging out under the porch. We were hanging out under the log. Anyway, and he thinks that we need some safety training.
This guy.
But I don't think he does anything himself. That's my...
Maybe he's a safety trainer.
So I told him, stay on your couch.
Yeah, if you want to be safe all the time.
Again, you're looking through a keyhole view into an operation. You don't see everything. You can't be judgmental like this and still have what a sane person would consider an objective mind.
I like this guy's comment. That time you wish you hadn't left the welcome mat out.
Yeah.
Come on in!
That tree center punched the front door.
He came in just to say that and then he left.
Yeah. This guy says that arrogant climbers always end up hurt. I don't know. I think I've got a pretty good track record of. We've all been hurt, right? But where are we hurt?
What are you saying?
Well, 35, 37 years or something.
Yeah.
Still going out and facing these things. Seems like okay track record. When I was hurt when I was younger, but I haven't been hurt through arrogance in a long time. But I was hurt by arrogance the first few years because I had the ego without the understanding. That was a long time ago. We're talking decades. So we got the couch judgment guy. Would the power company not turn the power off for safety? These are people who think that when you're working close to the power lines, the utility will come and shut the neighborhood down. So
yeah, that's not something that happens easily or almost ever.
They don't do it around here. One time they put some big insulators on the wires for us. I've asked them to do it again, and they've never been willing to do that. So they basically just say, don't work within 10 feet of the wire, and if something needs to be done within 10 feet of the wire, we'll do it.
Yeah, and they are pretty good about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a tree that's growing right up in the wires, they have their own tree companies, line clearance companies contracted. They'll come out and they'll cut everything down till it's 10 feet below the lines, and then you get to finish it. So sometimes you get half the job done.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. We'll definitely take them up on that.
And they don't charge you for it. They just would rather you don't mess up the power lines or get killed in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this time the tree was further than 10 feet from the power lines because it was laying on top of the house.
Yeah. They don't like shutting the power off though.
No.
The amount of headache that causes them, because they can't just shut like a section of power off. Everything on that run of lines is going to be shut off, and it's a lot of people that are going to be complaining for sure.
Remember that well, I don't know if you were on that job. You know how they are about the road? Remember it with my crane?
It's hard to find a
Yeah.
comment sometimes, isn't it?
When we were working for the
Kind of a lot of
police?
same things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we tried to get
People saying
the
their job,
Department of
people
Transportation to
decide.
close a lane for us because we had to remove this tree out over a busy lane of traffic, and they would not allow it. They would not. No flaggers, no
That's
signs.
not a highway. This is a city street basically, and it's 3 lanes, so there's plenty of. And we're doing it during the day, so there wasn't like a ton of traffic. I mean, it's one of the busier streets in town, but it's not like shutting down one of the 3 lanes would have caused a huge traffic problem. It wouldn't have really caused a problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
They were willing to say go ahead and rig out that tree over traffic, but they were not willing to close the lane.
yeah,
So it's not what you think, whatever part of the world you are when you're making comments like that.
Here, read this one, Evan.
One's long.
It's a poem. You have to read it like it's a poem.
What if I don't read good?
I don't read good, that's why I sent it to you. Because I know you do.
August commented on it.
Just read the
I'll
poem.
have August read it. You,
Oh.
so you've
Do
already
I
read
have
it.
to read it like a poem?
And then we can interpret what the poem means.
You've already read. You've already replied to it. I haven't seen your reply to it.
No, this is a Rush song.
Is it?
As soon as I saw this, I just skipped to the bottom and put Rush song. So yeah,
I know that.
it's there's unrest in the forest. There's trouble with the trees. Never heard that song?
where's Rush from?
Where's Rush from?
Yeah.
The band, Canada.
Dude, Evan, you should have known.
Listen to them.
I think so. For the maples want more sunlight, the oaks ignore their pleas, blah blah blah. Yeah, I remember this song.
I didn't even have maple trees. Yeah.
No, they got
Where do you think
maples.
syrup comes from?
Not where I'm at. Not where I'm at.
Yeah, where do you think the syrup comes from?
Well, my grandpa used
You're
to
gonna
tap
have to
trees.
get your Canadian citizenship again.
My grandpa used to tap maple trees. Actually, that was what he did. But
Yeah.
that wasn't in Ontario.
That's
Yeah, in the east
yeah.
mostly.
Yeah, I'm not reading all
I've
these
got
songs.
poplars and pines. That's it.
Dude, natural syrup like that is so good.
That's way different.
It's like smoky. Or I don't know if they did anything. I think it was Elliot. I think it was Elliot Kramer and sent me some like actual maple syrup. It was so
oh yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. There's been a few guys that have sent us maple syrup.
It was some of the best. It was like a little smoky almost.
This guy is accusing clever idea trimming the roots on one side of the tree.
That was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Made a good video out of it.
Yeah, if you
Thanks
rewind
camera.
if you rewind the security camera, you can see August digging out there with his electric saw the night before.
It's hard chopping away.
They'll pay
We need
us
some work.
to do this.
Yeah.
Here's a guy.
Leave a business card stapled to the tree.
Here's another accusation. City trimmed it away from the street side for utility clearance. As soon as the ground got a little soft, the house side was so off balance and too heavy that for the root mass to hold it. It's because the roots were rotted. It was one-sided. That certainly didn't help, but roots respond to phototropic growth. So they gotta be there though. They can't be rotted off or they don't work. I hope your insurance coverage paid for it. Listen to this. A lot of companies won't cover it under an acts of God clause. That is baloney.
Isn't that what insurance is for?
Insurance is for things you didn't expect.
Yeah.
AKA acts of God.
So what if someone cut it down? Would they cover it then?
Probably.
In Oregon, it's a no-fault state, right? For like tree, for damage to property. So, whatever the insurance on the property covers the damage to that property, unless there's some blatant like
Some big plot.
shenanigans, like somebody
Right.
just cuts a tree down and it lands right on your house. Like they'll probably go after that person, but
Mm-hmm.
when stuff falls, like say a tree falls and it crosses like into 3 yards, like if it's a residential area, like
Yeah, each person's
insurance will cover the damage to that property. It won't be
Yeah.
the person who
That owns the tree.
owns the tree, basically.
Yeah. We've seen that. That's the same when I was in Washington. Tree would fall on somebody. Guy would come over and say, "Your insurance needs to fix that," and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Your own insurance covers stuff that happens to you, and everything on your side of the fence has to be your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So, this person was wrong. She just said that. It sounded good to her, and
Is there anything that
And-
goes?
I said, "That's not true." And she said, "Oh, then I need different insurance," as if I'm wrong and her insurance is like that. It's not true. That she made that up.
Is there anything that goes against somebody that has a tree that is obvious that it's going to fall at some point? It's like a leaning dead tree that's getting really bad.
It's leaning over your property.
And
It's on
they've
there.
had somebody qualified enough to come out and say that it needs to come out or it will be a problem.
If there's a paper trail, yeah, then the owner of the tree becomes liable, especially if somebody dies.
Yeah.
If
Because it's been known. Like, this is a known issue.
If you're here's a good tip for you. If you're a homeowner and you're afraid of your neighbor's tree, get a registered letter that says your tree freaks me out, or some other verbiage, and get it notarized and say you need to do something about this, or you're going to be liable. If there's a paper trail and you've done those things, then they're going to be in trouble if something happens, instead of just them sitting there and waiting
Yeah,
for
and
a disaster because they have insurance.
You could hire an insurance company would like to see a certified arborist with a recommendation. Like if you have a certified arborist look at the tree and say, yeah, this tree is posing a danger, that's more of a paper trail. Like
Yeah.
that puts down somebody that at least they can refer back to that has some sort of professional opinion that is recognized, and that's a more established paper trail.
Yeah, because you don't want to just be a pain with your neighbor's tree that you just don't like either.
Right.
You know, it's like it's actually got to be.
Also, don't just do it because you don't like your neighbor's leaves.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Like, no,
yeah.
like-
I told a lady one time, this tree looked so sketchy, and it was a landowner, and she had tenants in the house. She said, well, how long do I have? And I'm all, get those people out of there. Get them a hotel.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I'm going to sleep on it. That night, it fell on her house.
No, it's sleeping on you.
That very night, it crushed the house, and it didn't kill anybody. But she called me the next day and was like, you're right, I'll never not believe you again. So it's kind of common sense.
If August says something, just listen, because I've learned a couple times when I thought I had my own ideas of what something was going to do, and then he was pretty right about that.
Those are easy ones, though. When we're rigging
No, it was bad. It was like
Way to pull it
so
off.
many things
that
could
was
have
rude
happened.
of me to...
But
If it
make
came
it sound like some nincompoop little thing.
Yeah.
Obvious that was gonna happen.
If it was an idea Damien had... Yeah. It was
What I'm
basic.
talking about right now is an example of I'm about to pop a big log, probably the biggest log anybody's ever popped.
Yeah.
And I don't have my face opened up quite enough or something, and August says,
No, your face was set to stop the chunk. And I knew it. And
Now
you
we're
did it
talking
like
about-
2
now
or
we're-
3 times in a
I
row.
were talking about a specific one. I'm just
Oh, okay. Sorry.
giving
Sorry
like
for
a
having
reference.
an elephant memory.
Is something like I have my face open so much, and August says, that's not going to land flat unless you snipe it. And I'm all,
Oh, that's
I think it'll land flat. And then I just nip the sides and I just cut it, and it's all, shoo, bam!
Wow.
Sure enough, I'm like,
Well,
dang, a snipe would have absolutely fixed that.
yeah, but that's not like vast experience talking. All that is a different perspective.
Yeah.
The side perspective, you can see the rotation sometimes better than when you're on the tree.
Yeah. And when you're on the tree, you're probably, I don't know, a little tired or something. And you're like, I just
I
want
don't want to make another cut.
I just want to cut the
I
thing.
did that.
Yeah, and it
Remember?
depends on what saw you have.
I
you
did
know,
that
like-
recently, and I broke the guy's wheelbarrow.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Dude, that thing was all stunk. It just, like, you had
I
the
knew it
snipe
was
where
no
the disc,
good,
where
and
the
I was
angle was.
like, you know, it's not like Grandma's China. So I was all, it'll probably be fun. And I was like, as soon as I did it, I was like, shouldn't have done it. Broke his wheelbarrow.
Could have been avoided.
Yeah, so I had to tell him, I broke your wheelbarrow. It was me. Then right after that, I said, but Damien made me do it.
From the ground.
Yeah, he didn't tell me.
I think I
forget
crashed
what
your
I said.
drone like 30 seconds after or something.
I was under duress because you crashed my $3,500 drone and it was a $2,500 job.
And I was making it sound like it couldn't be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize you had exactly the right part for it.
Yeah, that made me happy. Having spare drone parts.
So the homeowner has a crushed wheelbarrow.
He was so
It's
cool.
the handle. You know, the handles stick out like this, and then the body's right here. The log was just like, shoo, boom, and it broke like a 6x6 in half that was on the wheelbarrow, and it was like this far from a table. And
Come on now.
and this little kid was standing there.
Don't listen to it.
And he was petting the dog.
Yeah.
And he was petting the dog and watching its little sister.
Yeah.
And Grandma was laying there.
Mm-hmm. And August said it'll be fine.
Yeah, saying it'll be fine.
No, none of that happened.
And yeah, no. What it was like it was just a bunch of stuff kind of all packed out of the way. And there was like a table with like a little umbrella, and then the wheelbarrow I think was like tucked underneath the edge of the table, and the two arms were sticking out, the handles, and it was just like boom, and it landed just perfect to like
This is taking too long, this part of the podcast.
blast one of the handles clean off.
Come on, I actually just went over there and put it right back on.
Screwed it back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It actually barely nicked.
That
it. It was
guy's
just
cool.
enough.
Larry, that guy is so cool. Like he's a guy, when you do a bid for this guy, he knows about what it takes to do tree work.
Yeah.
And so
He's pretty smart.
He sits there and kind of predicts how you'll do it and everything. So he's seen things.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty smart.
Yeah. So
Like,
he's all, I'll take care of that. Don't worry about that. He also was getting a raging deal.
yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of the super cheap tree cutters from the bedside video.
I like that. We need to make another video that's kind of
super staged.
choreographed, because we always just make videos of just like, okay, this is the job and we're trying to get things done.
Because we are.
Except for that tree we staged falling over on the house the other day.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was full Hollywood.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, we did not. Because somebody's going to think.
A guy said it was styrofoam. That it was all fake.
Which explains all the crushing force.
Yeah. Well, they didn't watch the whole video. They just watched the beginning. That's another thing they complained about, is that it's an 18-minute video that describes the exact moment. Oh, the exact moment, huh? 18 minutes? I'm not going to wait through all your other stuff to see the exact moment.
The moment happened at the beginning.
It's at the beginning.
So they're so used to people. You know how like you get all these videos where you're just like, they keep leading, they purposefully lead you on
Forever. Yeah.
and then they never even show it. They keep acting like, okay, we're about to get into this
like
thing right here, and then they're like, but first we got to get this done over, and then we'll be right to this. Okay, let's get into that.
Yeah.
And then they start talking about it and they lead off to it, and you're like, it's
Yeah,
literally
it's-
just to like keep
It's
pulling
all-
you in for the
They
view.
gotta be trying to whittle down their subscribers though, because people would hate that.
Yeah.
You would never hold
There was a video like that the other day I watched.
Yeah, and it's like,
I got
you
like 5
never
minutes
got
in,
there.
and I just started scrubbing all the way to the end. It never happened. It was like a 20-minute
That's
video.
exactly what I'm talking about. They probably think it was one of
I'm just
those.
gonna scrub all the way
You
through.
might have
Never
thought
happened.
that, but actually the tree tips over and falls on the house immediately, and then the rest of the video is just there if you want to watch it.
That's just like a clickbait, it's just to get you to click on it, and
There's articles like that too.
yeah, content is not really there. It's
Mhm.
just
You put yours like right at the beginning, not at
Mhm.
the end, or hidden in the middle somewhere.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, people are impatient.
well,
And
it's-
I mean, I guess I am too.
It's all the short
I'm
videos
not
these
gonna
days.
watch a very long video usually.
people have short attention spans. That's just how it is. That's why YouTube Shorts and Instagram Shorts and everything are short,
Mhm.
because nobody wants to pay attention that long.
You just watch the action and move to the next
I
action.
want to say it's like 10 seconds. If you don't get someone's attention in 10 seconds, they say that.
Well,
they'll move on.
you can look at the video analytics. Let's see. Let me look at this.
How far people have watched it, and
Yeah. And it always it like starts at 100%, just goes down to 50%. Like
Let me
the
find
first
this
minute or
video.
Yeah.
Go to video.
But I think it's just normal. I think sometimes those analytics happen because like the YouTube videos will start playing even though you haven't clicked on it.
Yeah, if you have the premium, they automatically, as you're scrolling by them, they start
They
playing.
start
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll show up in your watch history, like even though you never
Yeah.
clicked on it, because as
Yeah.
soon as it starts, because it auto plays when
So
you
I
scroll.
think that
yeah, 'cause
adds
some you're
to-
like, sometimes you're like, yeah, am I
You don't
gonna watch
even need
this?
premium. it doesn't.
It does it automatically now.
Yeah.
So, at about 3 minutes into the video, 63% of them, no, 63% of viewers are still watching at around the 30-second mark.
Yeah. So they watch until the tree falls down.
The people who watch clear to the end are rare.
Mhm.
And what's crazy is all of these impatient people asked a bunch of questions that are answered in the video later.
Like 90% of the people were hoping that it was like a catastrophic smash.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
It's like
Yeah.
They were looking for that. Just
And they get mad and complain about the video.
Yeah. Oh, this is Hollywood. But then if you showed them something that really was, then they'd appreciate it.
they want to see blood.
They think it's like a whistle and diesel thing where you like buy a bunch of stuff or you create some sort of big thing, you know, to make a cool video or something.
I guys reckon everything.
Pull it over on the house. We'll just buy a new house with our YouTube money.
Okay, listen to this. I have not watched this video and I am not going to.
awesome.
I just want to know why a video with a title about the exact moment of an incident is almost 18 minutes long.
Dude.
And then I said, hurry up, you've spent too much time here. You have strangers to argue with elsewhere.
Yeah. And videos to not watch that you
Right.
comment on.
Yeah, by the time he made that comment, the video was auto playing and it would have gone past.
He could have figured it
He
all
could have
out.
seen it, yeah. Yeah, it's like they want to click on it and, you know, action.
The funny thing is he had to click on it in order to leave the comment. So
Yeah,
he
it was
actually-
probably playing, but his little
Right.
comment section was
Yeah.
right here,
Yeah.
and the house is crashed. You know, the house is getting crashed. He's all, I'm not watching.
Yeah. I can't wait this
Maybe
long to
he
see.
paused it as quick as he could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to cut the audio.
Right here, the 17-minute, 47-second moment A. He's Canadian. I feel like there's going to be about 17 minutes and 27 seconds of padding on this video. So he wants to see the crash and move on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it'll take the time to make that comment.
Mm-hmm.
You can. It's on a short, isn't it?
Well, those are the kind of people too that they'll put up a little video of their own or comment on Facebook or something like that. And they think it's going to get a lot of attention. They go, why don't people like my stuff?
Yeah.
They just don't understand. They didn't watch the whole thing.
Oh, this guy says
Yeah.
blatant insurance fraud.
Mm.
I said, yeah, that tree is such a schemer.
Dude. Yeah. That looked like
Everything in America is built like blank. Even your trees just randomly fall
That's kind of true.
onto your wooden houses.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Three Little Pigs? I learned when I was 4 years old, you don't make a house out of straw or wood. Brick is the only way. And then I said, you only use brick because you don't have any forest left?
Yeah.
Oh, and then he says he lives... Yeah, anyway, this is me arguing with a stranger. But I'm kind of having fun with it. He says, we've been using brick since the start of time. Wow. That's why we have Victorian houses that are 400 years old. They
Yeah.
last a long time. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a brick house. But anyway, he's an America hater. But I told him, yeah, well...
We don't have bricks here.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
build out of what they got. So if you live in the desert,
Yeah.
you make adobe. If you live in the snow, you make an igloo. If you live in the forest, you go ahead and use trees.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, my thought
Certain
is
areas,
that
they don't.
those Three Little Pigs lived in different regions.
Yeah, like I don't know here. I mean, they don't build with brick here very much anymore. I don't think it's up to code. I think there's even though it's not a huge concern here, but like it's not great for earthquake stuff. It comes
Which
apart.
we get earthquakes here.
Yeah, barely. But like Southern California especially is yeah, so they don't allow construction with brick anymore.
Well, bricks would crack up like crazy in an earthquake,
Yeah.
but logs won't.
No.
Those wiggly logs.
Those
Those wiggly logs,
wiggly
yeah.
branches.
Yeah.
They have a place. You know there are actually houses built of straw? They make bales
Yeah.
into...
Cob
what are they-
houses?
Yeah, cob, yeah.
This guy says that where he comes from, the fire department, he's in Europe, why didn't they call the fire department? In Europe, the firefighters do this stuff. And that's because in Europe, the government does everything for you. Because they don't trust the population to not hurt themselves because they have to give them their free health care, and that's expensive.
It's better if they just don't know how to do anything.
I think that's kind of a blanket statement too, because there's plenty of arborists in Europe that do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's-
He doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, who knows where he's from too? Yeah,
That's what I mean. Europe.
Well, he says Europe, the whole dang place.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's
There's a lot of countries in Europe.
yeah.
You know, a lot of people online that know quite a bit.
Anyway, another time we'll have the ladies come in here so we don't.
Yep. And then we'll let them talk about anything they want to.
We gotta stop talking, Damien.
We could put one of them in a tree sometime. How we put Evan in a tree.
Well, we were gonna do that. I asked Heather to do a crane pick, my wife, and I started training her on the saw and stuff, and she was like, "No, thank you."
Mm-hmm. I bet Nicole would do it.
She probably
She
would.
does silks and all that.
Yeah, but she needs to practice with a saw.
Yeah.
Because
I
you
have little
can't
things
put
in
a
my
saw
house.
in somebody's hand and
Yeah.
then put them in a place that's uncomfortable to them, an awkward work position.
Yeah, because it's sketchy up there.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt any of that.
No, that's because
You did awesome.
he did do awesome.
You did great.
He actually did better than I thought he was going to.
He really? That's rude.
Yeah, I thought he was not gonna do good.
No.
The biggest thing with Evan is he's like super calm and collective, and he's really good at listening to directions.
He's collected.
Collected.
Calm and
He
collected.
listens to directions really, really good. So like, when you told him like, make sure the face is pointed that way, he did it. You know, and
Yeah, he can run a
He
saw.
didn't act like he knew anything. Or
Didn't you have a job where you were cutting pipe?
Plastic pipe, yeah.
Yeah.
It's different than trees for sure.
Yeah.
But we
So
just had like an old husky rancher. What was it, the 355?
He had a job in Canada where he was literally cutting plastic pipe. And that's kind of like a hollow tree.
Yeah, really very hollow tree.
Mm-hmm. Super hollow.
Dude, I was cutting a plastic pipe one time and like, I was cutting a weld. So when you fuse the pipe together, you literally have to like melt the pipe and then squish it together. And it creates this like little bead, this little lip. So anyways, I was cutting an old line apart so that we could build it somewhere else. And the when you build those lines, you can drag them around with the excavator and kind of put them wherever. And a lot of times it'll break the bead off of the exterior of the pipe. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the strength of it. So anyways, there was like the welded bead all the way up over top, and then down here it had like busted off. Mm-hmm. And when I got down to the bottom, it was just like these two tangs that were still stuck together, and it grabbed the chainsaw and it flipped it up and it knocked my hard hat right off my head. Like I was just like, and it just went boom.
Dang.
And I was like, oh! My brother was in the excavator holding the pipe. He's like, are you all right? I'm like, that was close.
Did it leave a mark in the hat?
Yeah, it took one little chip off.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Probably a kickback brake worked.
Yeah. It locked up. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some.
But
like
I
that.
just remember just like trying to push away as hard and fast as I could, but it already like pivoted in my hand. It just went.
Yeah, it's like
It's instant.
basically
It's in no time to think about it.
It
Yeah.
already,
I've got a
like,
couple
already
of
happened
questions.
by the time you realize what happened.
Yeah.
Like it was
And the more powerful the saw with a shorter bar, the more sketchy it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it can just pivot so fast.
Didn't Pat have a scar on his back from that?
Yeah, I think so.
He was
well,
cutting-
no, his buddy cut him. I thought.
I thought he said he was cutting brush in a trailer.
Oh yeah.
He was cutting brush in a trailer, cutting it down, and he hit the side of the trailer, and he was leaned over, and the saw flipped up.
Oh yeah, that's
And cut him
right.
in the back.
I remember that.
Dang.
Yeah.
Whew.
I could see how that could happen because I had one time, I see to keep your front thumb wrapped,
Yeah.
and so it can't come out, and then this becomes the pivot point.
Mm-hmm.
So I always used to run my backhand really loose, and one time I had kickback, and it ripped it out of this hand, and then this was the pivot point, and it came up, my chain brake didn't come on. And it was spinning right here. Like, I almost got it right there. And I pushed it out as far as I could. And the thing was all the way back here spinning.
Yeah.
So I could see how, like, if it did come out of this hand,
Yeah.
it could somehow, like, pivot up.
Yeah, I about
It
cut my
was
head off once too.
sketchy.
Didn't you say you had one that like flung off behind you?
Yeah, and I had one other one. I had high sliced this tree, and I had come back, and I was going to come on the other side. And I had already started revving my saw, and it was like on a really skinny one. And it didn't really like kick back, but I nicked the top of this little pole, and it sprung towards me really quick, and it just went bop, and it like did flips over my head and down the hill.
And you let go of it.
Yeah.
You're all unwrap thumb.
Yeah.
Unwrapping.
It was a long time ago. It was probably like my first year of cutting with grayback. After I had gotten my 440, and I was just pinning it everywhere I went.
I got mine. Did you cut yourself? You got one on your knee?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's got one on their knee.
I've never cut myself.
I was climbing when I did that though, and that was the chain wasn't actually running. It was a big spruce tree, and like the limbs, those big long limbs, they were tangled up. And when I cut the limb free, the tip was tangled up, and so it like pushed back towards me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't like in a great position. That's why I got cut. Like I wasn't like, I didn't have spurs on because it was just lifting up the lower branches on the tree, so I was kind of hanging there. And I think I had my lanyard around something over here, so I wasn't braced against, like I couldn't keep it from pushing me.
Mm-hmm.
So it pushed back towards me, and it pushed the saw back, and I was just like swinging free because I wasn't like lanyarded into the main trunk, and it just pushed the saw back across. The chain was stopped and the brake was on, but
Still sharp.
it was sharp, and it just laid it open pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, I have nicked chaps before. I cut into my chaps one time.
I about sawed my head off one time with a 200T.
Really?
Yeah. It's yeah, I don't know if I want to tell the story, but it was like, you seen that Spider-Man, old Spider-Man movie where the Octo guy or whatever is after him, and he like throws a car into the Spider-Man's like having a this is a long intro to my story, but Spider-Man's having like this date with Mary Jane or whatever, and all of a sudden his little senses go tingly, and this car comes flying through the window, and he like jumps out of the way, and he puts his head back like this, and then they show slow-mo of the tire, the rim going just like right next to his neck. It was just like that. It was just like that. Yeah, it was a 200T though, and it was like, and it was like,
That's how it
I moved
felt
my head
when it
like
pivoted
this,
back like that.
and you could feel I'm like, the thing's in my hand, like I'm supposed to be in control of this thing, and I mean it's just whizzing past my carotid artery, you know.
That's how it felt that time that it came back like this. It felt like it was in slow motion almost. Like,
oh, yeah,
it's a vision I'll never forget.
Me too.
Is chain
Never forget.
spinning super
right
fast
here.
right here, and I pushed it away as far as I could like that. It was the only thing I could think to do.
Yeah,
And it just happened naturally. You didn't.
I
think
just
about
held
it,
as
you
far away as I could. I'm not. It was close. And then from then on, and clear to this day, I'm like, okay, let's
Bad
just
things can happen.
let's just slow this down a little. I mean, I still will one hand saw. I didn't like give that up, but I definitely am aware of where that tip is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I did cut my big toe off one time. That
Not
was
from one-handing.
no, not one handing, just a kickback that was so violent that it just went right through the toe, the boot, everything.
That's crazy.
Did you lose your toe?
No, it was still in the boot.
You didn't lose it.
No, they sewed it back on.
Sew back on.
Yeah, it went through the bone, through that tendon on the top, and it was gnarly.
Dang.
And it's nylon. The tendon's nylon. But yeah, they fixed it. They sent an ambulance, and I wouldn't get in it.
I wouldn't either.
I was like, I'm not being a big toe injury in an ambulance. Not gonna happen.
Yeah,
You'll get treated quicker. If you go to the ER in an ambulance, they'll get right on it. And I'm all, not riding ambulance.
I don't need a $1,500 ride.
So
To
check
the
it out.
hospital.
I go there. They take 2 hours in the waiting room. I apologize if you've already heard this story.
Not this part.
The people with stomach aches and big zits and stuff were going ahead of me. And the
You should have went outside and called an ambulance.
yeah, maybe it'd be cheaper.
I need you to walk me in there.
Yeah. So then when they finally saw me, the guy was like, "Whoa, we gotta get the orthopedic surgeon in here." And so they had to call a guy from home. You know, why didn't you say something? And I'm like, I did. I said I cut my toe with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Well,
Chainsaw should have gave it away.
I
You
just
should have
left-
had it in a baggie and just been like.
Yeah, well, it still had connection on the bottom, so I
Uh.
left my boot on. So I exaggerate when I say it's off.
It still had attached
It
by
was still attached on the
a little
bottom.
bit of skin.
Just skin.
But it didn't make sense that it was because the boot through the top and through the sole was cut. Where the toe was.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw a guy cut his middle toe off with a chainsaw.
Wow.
Wow, that's clever.
Yeah.
Was it this way?
Not really.
Kind of
It
like
was
like
a
stuff
cross, and it went through the sole of the boot too. And it just like the tip, like it went in and
like a scalpel.
down, and it like plunged in. I mean, it cut all 3 of his middle toes. It cut the center one clean off. It was actually in the.
Did they fix it?
I don't think they attached that one.
Aw.
The other 2 were danglers though, and they yeah, definitely.
You
Yeah,
don't swim as fast.
he was
He's a
one.
Ninja Turtle now.
He was one-handed in a 460 though.
He wears his sandals
Yeah.
with the thing in the middle.
Yeah, he's a ninja now.
Yeah. Well, dang, I feel lucky that they fixed me then.
Yeah, it was
Sorry for laughing
interesting
at
when
you.
you look at the boot and you look at like the cut across it. I left it hanging on the front of the yard for like a couple years.
Ah,
It was just
that's a
hanging
good
there as
idea.
little
The
trophy. The boot, yeah.
Oh,
I
I thought you
should've
were talking
kept
about
mine.
the toe.
No, not the toe.
That's on his necklace.
You're like, that thing hanging on the yard.
I made an earring out of it.
Every day you gotta come chase the crows off. Get out of here! It's like,
No.
get away from Jake's toe!
Yeah.
Wow, what was his name?
I had to flip him the
Jordan
bird.
hooked it up to the
Jordan?
windshield wiper.
Yeah.
Just like,
Thank you for your sacrifice, Jordan.
Sorry,
That's
Jordan.
that's a rough
Yeah, he was like squaring up some logs on the landing, and like we just got there. It was early in the morning, and like everybody was like squaring up butts on logs before they were headed. It was the rigging crew, and like we were getting equipment fired up and everything. And he was like, he had it dogged in on the butt of a big log up in the deck, and he just running up one hand and like not even looking, and it just dropped through on his foot.
Dang.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like full throttle on a 460,
Ah.
and it just right into buried into the end of his shoe.
That's
There's
gnarly. You don't realize how important
It
your
stopped
toe is until it's
on
gone.
the corks in the bottom of the sole. Like they were all like the chain actually got caught on one of them. Like it cut through.
On the metal?
Yeah, on the metal. Yeah.
Of the cork?
Yeah.
Gnarly.
Dang.
So somehow it like didn't touch his big toe or his pinky. And it was nearly straight across, but it was just like the tip went in and
That seems hard, like that to extricate to get between, especially at the base.
I know. The guy that owned the company was just like mortified. He like turned white and he went and sat in his truck. And like so I was like helping him out. I was like, dude, just sit down, look at something else. And I took his boot off and there was like two little twirling danglers. Dude, it wasn't bleeding because it wasn't like the tissue goes into like, I don't know, it's like goes into shock kind of, everything like tightens up. And then the other toe was in the end of a sock, like completely detached.
You the man.
And
dude,
wrapped him up and
I'd have been like,
it's actually like this.
yeah.
I'd have been like, keep your boot on and let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I'm like, well, I did stick my pinky through the hole in the bottom of my boot to see if the bottom was attached.
We were a long
and I was
way.
like, oh, there's still.
We were a long ways from civilization, so it needed to get wrapped up, or it was going to be bleeding, like really bad for an hour or two before we got to the hospital. So
I was out on a job in Sunny Valley, so yeah, I could not walk without a limp for 2 years.
Dang.
That's how bad it was for me. Like that big toe is important. I couldn't run, and my walk was funky.
Yeah, it takes all the weight, the big toe does.
It's important.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be fine if I go without doing that.
Yeah, you just gotta stay away from other people with chains. Wow. We don't want to go there now, do we? Story time? Maybe next time, huh? Yeah, I'll save that. I've known other guys that have been cut by their buddy with a saw nearby.
Not my buddy.
Wasn't you?
I'm not the buddy.
I'm thinking of a guy that I worked with years ago that had this gnarly. I thought it was Pat, but it wasn't. He had this gnarly cut right through his shoulder muscle, and he was one of these guys that don't need no doctor, and so he ended up with this like radical scar that could have been less severe.
Better go to the doctor
with the
right
muscles
away.
all kind of bunchy and stuff.
Yeah.
he was like that old banjo player with a disconnected arm.
Yeah.
His bones would be broken.
Yeah, I know a guy that broke his arm and didn't fix it right too. He was a rodeo guy. His name was Rodeo Joe. And he got kicked and busted his arm and just had this giant, like, stupid deformation on it that he could have got fixed. He's like, I don't need no doctor. I'm like, everybody's really impressed at home with their nice arms.
If I broke my arm, I would probably go to the doctor if I broke my arm.
Oh, you're feeling judged right now?
Damien, if it's
So you're not doing that, do
if it's from like the wrist down, he'll take care of it himself. But
It's not that bad. It's just got a little kink in it.
Yeah, it's also messed up this way.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
a little
it's like-
gap right
yeah.
between the fingers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a one-wheeling accident. That'll
Yeah.
also be another story.
It's
And he
fresh,
saw it.
It's fresh in my memory.
Oh, you
yeah.
want to tell him?
Tell him that he should have went to the hospital.
Well, I think we said he should.
The story of how I did it.
this is gonna have to be a bonus episode.
Bonus episode, one-wheel accident.
Yep.
Yeah, Damien and I were kind of more or less finishing up the ride.
Was there alcohol involved?
I don't think so.
No.
No?
Just 2 stairs that I decided I was gonna. I dropped down it a bunch of times. There was 2 stairs that were parallel to the other.
So like it was like this square kind of place in the playground that had like a ramp up one side.
We were crossing through the park.
Yeah.
We always hit this little
And
2-stair thing.
it had like a step, and the step was probably about this wide, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And then another step, and then you had to go off the front. But Damien went off the first step? I guess it was the first step.
Yeah, because there's a little bench right there.
Yeah.
And then there's a little spot just wide enough for you. So right when I went in between the bench, I was going to drop off parallel. But, you know, you want to try and be like 90 degrees if you're going to drop where your board could roll.
So yeah, as he went along parallel with it, he didn't angle himself enough. So what happened is, as he went off, the board rolled underneath his feet. So the board rolled out, which kicked him forward, and he put his hands down, and it just hooked on the cement. And
Did you get a picture of them before they were corrected?
no, I don't think so.
No,
No, he did it. So he straightened it out right away.
He had like fingers down here,
Yeah,
like pointed.
but I didn't see that because he straightened it out before he
He's
even
all-
got up.
Not me.
The second I saw it, I thought it because I've never dislocated anything, but I've seen videos where people are like, my finger's dislocated. And then they're like, oh, let me see it. And then they like bend it back really quick.
Yeah, let's fix this.
So I landed like this, like with my hand on the top stair with all my weight. And I felt all of them just go and like crunch hard. And I'm like facing away from Evan, and I like put myself up, and the second I look at it, I notice that this finger's bent like
Did your
that.
eyes go big?
Probably. I just remember
They came out. They're like,
I slammed so hard on those stairs too.
Oh.
And the second I got up,
So-
I saw that it was bent, and I knew it wasn't supposed to be bent, and so I just went BAM!
Dr. Damien is
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I went BAM because I didn't want to like wait for it to start hurting really bad because it was already burning instantly.
Plus, you don't want to leave it like that. It's horrible.
No.
Yeah.
This would be funnier if it was still like that though.
Yeah, well,
Well,
that would be a
not
different
so
kind of.
useful.
The video would be funnier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, you straightened it up before you even knew.
Yeah.
Because I was right behind you. I was about to do the same thing. But then you wiped out, so I had to bail and turn. And by the time I turned back around to see you, you're already picking yourself up, holding your hand. And you're like, you mind if we just sit down for a minute?
Yeah, because it made me like feel sick to my stomach.
heck
I felt like
yeah.
I was gonna pass out.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure.
I was like standing there. I'm like, dude.
Dude,
I was feeling
yeah.
so lightheaded.
So there's the pain, and then there's the horror.
yeah.
So like I broke this arm one time, and I had my hand down here by my elbow, and the horror of seeing it like that.
yeah, you're like, oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
way
I
worse
messed
than
up.
any pain. I was just like, it's me.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do.
It's my arm.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like too much to deal with, and I was only like in 8th grade or something. So it was
Yes.
like, I'd never seen my hand over there.
Yeah. The worst part about it was after I went and I sat down with Evan, I like felt so horrible. Like
Mhm.
I felt like tunnel vision of like about to just pass out numb
Yeah.
and stuff. And I'm like, dude, Evan, I gotta sit down. And then I got up because I was like, I like it was bleeding a little. I think it was bleeding a little bit, or I had to use the bathroom or something too.
Because of the scuffs and stuff.
Yeah, and then like I was like, I gotta go use the bathroom. And then I went in there and went pee real quick, and there was like some other bum just like chilling in
Some
there.
other bum?
Some bum like chilling in there, not doing anything. He looked super sketch, and I'm like, oh, this is not what I need right now.
You're
And
not like, hey buddy, can you look at this?
and then I come out, and I'm like, by the time I come out, I'm feeling so lightheaded again. Like it just never went away. Like me standing up and walking did not help. So then I had to come and sit back down with Evan for a sec.
We thought you had dislocated it though.
Till I felt.
Because that's what you thought.
That's what I thought. Yeah, but it turns out the bone was broken
It
in the
actually
middle,
broke the bone,
and then I
yeah.
crunched it back, and then it eventually just healed
The
bent.
heel bent, yeah. Yeah.
It's still.
And I
tender.
gave him the "This is your body" speech.
He tried to get me to go to the doctor.
You should just go ahead and get that fixed.
I remember you asking me, like, what would they do? It's like, well, at this point, it's starting to heal, so they'd probably have to break it again. And you're like, no! I'm
Not happening.
Because it had been about a week at this point. It's like, oh, that thing's healing up. Like,
Yeah, but they do that.
starting to
So a week's not bad.
yeah, but
No.
he was not. He's like, I don't want to go through that again. Let her heal.
I don't
So how
like
is it?
going to the doctor.
So what's the range?
Probably more than you.
Oh yeah? You do that?
Just joking. Yeah.
Oh, that is pretty good.
Well, and
I guess
that's the thing is I have full range of it. That's why I didn't go because I was like,
Well,
I
your
can
wrist
still...
is hurting right now, anyways.
My wrist hurts right now. Well, I
from a
think
new
that's
one.
what was popping. Yeah,
from the dirt bike last weekend.
Oh
that wasn't my fault.
no, you have an entitled
That
personality.
wasn't my fault. Yeah, it was bike.
Oh, it's the bike's fault.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, we're gonna call it. We're done. We're gonna save our stories because this podcast is now over.
But they should comment in the comment section on topics they would like to be covered.
Oh yeah. So Sam has a good one. Samantha Sam, the queen here. She has an idea where she brings stuff in, like there's a lot of stuff that we use in our industry that the girls who work here, they don't even know what it is. And she's all, let's have a segment where it's called, what is this? And they like bring something up and we tell them what it is. And we could do it with the shops work here too, like,
This is a carabiner.
a certain kind.
Yeah.
You get the idea.
That'd be good.
Give us ideas, podcast ideas, and we'll talk about it. Thanks for tuning in.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. How awkwardly long can we make this goodbye?
If they're still here, I think this podcast is going on almost 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to look at the analytics.
For that one guy that's still watching.
Yeah.
Give him a prize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for still watching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's it. It's too awkward in here now.
Yeah, it's too awkward.
Monkey